Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we are talking with Todd Baker. Todd is the founder of Project 9 Life, 9 steps towards a whole new life. And while I was looking around on his website, this quote from William Wallace, Braveheart, I knew that was the name of the movie. Every man is born, but few truly live. And I just kind of reminded me of what you're doing on your website and what you're doing for people. So welcome to the show, Todd. It's really nice to have you here. Tell us about how you got started.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. It's, the nice thing is that the whole thing about how I got started was really based on my own personal journey. It was 7 or 8 years ago, and like most people, woke up one January, looked in the mirror and thought, "Oh God." So I was like, I gotta lose weight. And like a lot of people, my resolution that year lasted 3 days. I live in Denver, so day 4, it's snowing and it's cold. And I was like, I'm not going today. And instead of just giving up and saying, I'll get it next year or something like that, I spent the day really thinking about like, why it was so easy for me to give up and why did I want to get in better shape and, to lose weight. And, like every 5th grade English teacher tells you, ask why 7 times and then you'll get the right answer. So I went through that process, and what it boiled down to was it wasn't even like losing weight. It wasn't a certain number. It was getting fit. And it was getting fit because of my kids. They were, 11 and 9, 12 and 10 or something like that at that point. And they're very active. And I did not want to be the dad that had to sit on the sidelines, couldn't do stuff with them. They would come home and say, "Hey, we want to go camping." And I would just give them money and say, "We'll go." Like, I wanted to be the dad that was like, they get home and say, "Hey, we're going camping." I'm like, "Great, let's get in the truck and let's go." And truly participate with them in their lives and, just be there for them, participating in all that stuff. And then, I started thinking about, well, this isn't, they're 12 and 10. They got a lot of years left, and so do I. And so it shifted me from like a resolution, which is short term. And I started thinking like for a lifetime. And that's where the fitness came in, is you can get fit and you can stay fit for the rest of your lives. Even after you hit a certain number or feel a certain way, you can continue to do it. And, eventually at some point they'll have kids, and I want to be there for the grandkids as well. So that's how it got started. And, and I did not do anything special. I made some small adjustments to my diet, and I just started walking every single day. And I still walk every single day. And the crazy thing is like when you're out and you're active, like different parts of your brain start to really turn on. And that's where the company and the idea was born is, I started thinking like, I can't be the only one that's going through this. I can't be the only one that's faced with, I want X, but I'm not there yet, and struggles with resolutions or, bucket lists or vision boards that there's no plan. It's just, you put them on a piece of paper or a piece of poster board, and all you change ever is the year. I didn't want to be in that state. And so I started developing like the process behind it. And intentionally, it is very simple, because, getting into it should not be the hard part, because you're going to face challenges. It's something new, but it's going to make you uncomfortable, but that's where we all grow. So that's kind of how I got started, is, my own personal escapades into getting fit. And, I will say, I mean, over the course of a year, I ended up losing 100 pounds, but I didn't care. I just felt better and I could do stuff with my kids. So, weight loss always comes with it, but it wasn't the intent.
This is not really, when you're overweight, it's a symptom. It's not the problem. And most people just focus on losing weight instead of fixing the root problem, which is all kinds of things for all kinds of people. But once you get that adjusted, then the weight falls off and you hit a point that's comfortable. It's maintainable.
Yeah, I mean, my goal is never to like have a six pack. I mean, I'm 48, that day is long past, but I can still maintain my fitness and be active with my kids and friends, and, feel perfectly comfortable at a beach or whatever, without anything, just I'm good. And it's maintainable because it's simple.
And doing that, it actually helps your kids for when you're older. As a person who has much older parents, because I myself am older, my parents have taken care of themselves, my father-in-law, my dad, over the years, and they don't have a lot of health challenges right now that a lot of people in their 80s are suffering from. And it's because they started early and they maintained they exercised. And you don't have to go to the gym and lift a bunch of weights and be Superman when you're older, but you do need to stay mobile. You need to walk at the very least. And even if it's just around the block, you need to get out and move your body. Your limb system needs it. The way we're designed to move. And it's
No, you're absolutely right. And let's face it, I mean, the majority of people in the world today, whenever they set a resolution or whatever, it's one of three categories. It's health, wealth, and relationships. And my journey started on health, but my ultimate goals and what I consider living my best life, that's changed. But my inspiration hasn't. It's still my kids. It's a little bit different because I'm not trying to get healthy. I am healthy. I've established a new level, a new me, so that I'm looking for what's next. And I think it's a common theme that you see amongst people who are successful, and not even talking about monetarily, but just successful people, is it's never enough. They're always on the lookout for, okay, I got this, what's next? And it's a great way to look at things, because your head is up, your confidence is high, your energy is higher, and you become an attractor. Opportunities come to you rather than you having to, bust your behind just seeking, these little crumbs and scraps. They just come to you in droves, to where, you say no 95% of the time, because it doesn't align with something that is where you're going. And that's where, as a ripple effect, as I was on the journey of getting health, my relationship with my kids went through the roof, because I told them what I was doing, why I was doing it, and why they were important to me, that the reason I was doing it, and that accountability reared its ugly head about 3 weeks in. It was snowing again. wake up in the morning, I'm cooking breakfast. My daughter comes downstairs. She goes, "Hey, Dad, are you going for your walk today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to see what the weather does, but yes, I will go." And without even hesitation, she looked me dead in the eye and she goes, "You mean now?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And, got dressed and walked out the door because, you know, it showed me tremendously how, yes, it was important to me, but yes, it was important to them as well.
Yeah, I can totally relate to the walking in the morning. And for me, we have to get it in the morning or it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
And we joke about, because I live in Idaho and it snows here too. We talk about the fair weather walkers. Where were you when the snow was piled 7 feet deep and the roads were icy?
Yeah. Back in the days where I had to walk to school uphill both ways and 8 feet of snow. Yeah. Okay. But
I think
yeah,
those days are coming back.
I do. I mean, the crazy thing is like, I typically go at the same time every morning. And the more often, like as I got into it and I was consistent, I started to run into the same people. And I developed relationships and friendships because I got to know them. Like, a walk should have taken me an hour. It would take me an hour and a half because I'd stop and talk to people and, get to know their names and their dogs' names. And, it would spark different questions.
In the neighborhood, we walked 3 miles and I know the names of every single dog.
Oh
say
yeah.
hi to them.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a neighbor. He was new to the neighborhood. He moved in probably, I don't know, 2 years after like I was walking every day. And, he was going to the mailbox. He walks by and he goes, "I'm sorry." He's like, "We've never met." And I said, "I'm Todd." And he goes, "Yeah, you're the guy that walks every day." I was like, "Yep, that's me." But it's just it created so many opportunities for so many different things that had nothing to do with like walking. It was, just your brain turns on and relationships go and opportunities come out of nowhere because you're in a completely different mindset for yourself.
Yeah, and it's fun. And it's fun getting
Oh,
to know people and seeing what's going on in your neighborhood. And
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, people were not made to spend life alone. I mean,
in front of their television set.
yeah. I mean, it's a community and we're social beings and not saying you have to switch from introvert to extrovert, but keeping your head up and saying hi, that really does not take that much effort or uncomfortableness. You don't have to stop walking, just hey and keep going. And then you'll get comfortable being uncomfortable, and all of a sudden you'll be taking an hour and a half on an hour walk.
Yep. So, what are you actually coaching people with right now? What is your main focus?
So
I didn't think it was weight loss.
it's not. It's so I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a personal financial advisor. I'm not a marriage or relationship coach. But what I do is I give people a framework and a plan for how they can get to those improvements within their own lives. You get 1,000 people in a room, you're going to have 1,000 different ideas of what that looks like. But the plan is very simple. And it starts with just, doing a little bit of homework ahead of time to figuring out like, what do you actually want? And, having a good mindset and getting out of short term and into long term and finding and asking yourself those tough questions why, to truly find what your inspiration is. Your motivation is external, it's an external factor, right? And it can be fleeting, and some days it just doesn't show up, or it shows up as a snowstorm. But inspiration is that fire deep inside everyone that it never goes away. And I look at it as a snowstorm. I don't care what motivated me in the morning. Like, if that was my only thing, a snowstorm's going to really put that fire out quickly. But my inspiration being my kids and being there, that never went away, because I'm not failing my kids. And I'm not saying it has to be, your why has to be family or, kids or anything like that, but ask yourself that question. And when you think you've got it, ask one more time. And really get down to that nitty gritty of, this is why this is important to me. So no matter what your goals are, health, wealth, relationship wise, it's the framework of the plan is laid out very simply and very kind of organized, that puts you on the right path to achieve what you as an individual want to achieve. I'm not going to be on camera doing push-ups or, showing you how Bitcoin works or anything like that. But if that's where you want to go and you're not there, I can help people get a plan together that's going to get them there.
Roadmaps are very underrated, in my opinion. If you have the directions, it's easy to get where you want to go. Most people don't even know where to start. They don't even take stock of where they are starting. And
Right.
So they're hoping something's magically going to happen and they're suddenly going to be transported to this new reality for them. But that doesn't happen either. You have to go through the process. It's a growth process. And the journey, the roadmap shows you what the journey could look like. It doesn't have to look like that. And it often doesn't look exactly like you think it's going to look. But if you at least have, the place where you're starting and the place where you want to go and a rough idea of the steps that you need to go through in order to get to that place, you're much more likely to arrive.
Yeah. And that's, it's something that I talk about fairly often during the 8-week course that I offer, is your only comparison is to yourself from yesterday. It's not the Joneses, it's not Instagram, it's not Facebook, it's yourself. And all you want on a daily basis is to be 1% better. And, people, and I've had clients be like, I can do better, I can do more, that sounds too slow. But in context, I tell them, well, think of it this way. If you get 1% better every single day for 1 year, at the end of a year, you are 37 times better off than you were when you started. That's progress. And it's achievable because it's not these huge leaps and bounds. It's measurable, and it's like, I got better today. And, making improvements doesn't mean that you have to do something different or dramatic. Sometimes you get presented with obstacles, and your progress that day is to come up with a game plan as to how you're going to get around that obstacle to get back to your plan the next day. That's progress, because you came up with a plan as to how to do it. Whereas before, that obstacle might have presented itself and you thought, well, not making it this year, on to the next year. And so it's just, just 1% every single day. And it adds up, and it's cumulative.
It's not that hard to make a 1% change.
No, and regardless of where your goal is, I mean, if your goal is like, I want to be a billionaire with a B, well, you're probably not going to do that from today until tomorrow, unless you start today at $900+ million. Then, okay, yeah, you might do that. But most people aren't. It's a great, huge goal to have. And I applaud people that have huge goals. They should be. I almost cringe when people say, when you set goals, they should be SMART goals. I don't think so. I think your goals should be as big and bold as you want to. There's 2 rules. They have to be something that you can sustain for a lifetime, and they should have a profound positive impact on your life. What happens is, you get to after you go through what your goal is and you discover what your inspiration is, your why, now you start building your how are you going to get there. That's where your SMART goals come in, because you're not going to go from 0 to 100. You're going to do it 1% at a time. And that's where you can actually measure how you're getting to that ultimate goal. But it gives you clarity and it clears all the fog out, which is a huge point for a lot of people, because that's where you typically find people say life got in the way. Well, no, you let that fog close in and obscure your clarity of where you want it to go.
And sometimes we fail, but if we let those failures derail us entirely, instead of just saying, okay, well, it didn't work that way, and maybe I didn't make 1% forward progress today, but I didn't go backwards either. And sometimes you do go backwards, but I figured out how to go around and get back on the path so that I can start making those 1% changes in the future. I mean, all of those things are so necessary, and so many times we just get derailed and give up. And then we choose, by giving up, a different path that's not going to get us where we want to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a staunch believer that no one in life has ever actually failed, ever. They have just had some real big learning opportunities. Edison was the perfect example. He was asked, when he finally got the light bulb, someone asked him, like, how could you fail thousands of times to make a light bulb and keep going till you finally got it right? And he says, I didn't fail once. I just learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And that's the approach that you need to have. That it's not necessarily that you failed, it's just you learned something. Like, you learned, okay, this way is not the way to go. I got to find an alternative. And again, if you're at that point and you find your alternative, that's progress. You're still moving forward. Just, you had to sidestep a little, but it's still going towards your goal, not necessarily falling off the top of the ladder.
I know that you offer a little call it a workbook, but it's more like a worksheet that helps people get clarity around these things that we've just been talking about. How can they get a hold of that?
So it's the one on the website, it's changed a little bit. So the easiest way to get it is just send me a quick email. It's info@project9life.com. And I will happily send you the worksheet. It's very simple. It's like 2 pages. There's only 4 questions on it. And then they're blank on the back for a reason, because you got some work to do back there. But I'll send that out, as well as kind of some homework you need to do before you even start filling anything else out. I think that's too often, you get people, then you say, in almost any environment, you can say, okay, we're going to talk about your goals. Who's got a goal? And everyone's hand goes up and they immediately know what it is. And it's like, that's a little too quick. Like, why is that your goal? Why was it so easy to identify that's what it is? Is it because that's just what you've been after, or society has said that's what you need to attain? It needs to be a very personal decision. And there's some just very simple things you need to figure out beforehand. Then you get into the worksheet. And then there's programs that we offer that will help even further, more supportive after that. So you've got every opportunity to give yourself the best chance to succeed.
Perfect. And what's the one thing you want the audience to take away today?
I would say if you want more out of your income, more out of your relationships, and you want a simple way to get there in as little as 8 weeks, that's why we're here, is to help get you on the path to achieving whatever that is that you want. But if those main things, like if you want more out of income, relationships, and life, and you don't want complicated, you want simple, 8 weeks, it's a small price to pay for a lifetime of progress.
Yeah, and sometimes just having the tools is half the battle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen it, we've all seen them, it's like, how to be a better real estate agent in 99 simple steps. It's like, who's got time to read 99 steps, and who can employ all 99 of those? It can't be complicated. It has to be simple, because when you get into it, that's where your work begins.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining me today, Todd. This has been an amazing conversation.
Yes, it has. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Jill. I certainly appreciate it. And we're here to help you guys. So
thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.